First of all, to those infiltrators who are in the crowd right now, go to hell. Secondly, what they are saying is, and the message they're trying to get across is, why do we need a tax revolution when the president just lowered your taxes for 95% of Americans with his stimulus package? I don't know about you, but how's that $10 in your paycheck go? How far is that going for you? What they don't want you to understand, my friends, is the future. What they don't want you to think about is what happens when they give you a little bit of a breadcrumb now, and then they decide that we're going to increase the federal deficit by $3.6 trillion this year and $1 trillion a year for the next 10. And they don't want you to ask a question, how the hell are we going to pay that down? Because the answer is, they're not going to pay it down without increasing your taxes next year and by instituting stealth taxes. They'll say, we're not going to raise your income tax, but what we are going to do is impose a new carbon tax. We are going to raise your cigarette tax. We are going to raise your gasoline tax. We are going to raise your food tax. So we won't tax your income, we'll just go ahead and tax your outgo. That's what their plan is. The taxes that have been levied against the people of this country have just barely scratched the surface. That's why we're here today. Because they have things in mind that you can't even fathom. I see a number of signs out there today saying, just say no to socialism. I see just say no to progressive socialism, liberalism, and so on and so forth. I want to quote, because some people think that's nuts. Some people think it is absolutely crazy, that we're insane to think that the United States of America, the greatest nation on earth, the sole superpower in this world, could ever turn to socialism. They think they're nuts. Maybe they're right. I want to quote the great communicator. Ronald Reagan once shared the words of an American socialist from back in 1927. Maybe you've heard this, maybe you haven't. He was a candidate for president for the Socialist Party. Norman Thomas was his name. Thomas said, and this was related by Ronald Reagan, that, quote, the American people would never vote for socialism. But under the name of liberalism, the American people will adopt every fragment of the socialist program, end quote. That was in 1927. 82 years later, here we stand, and we are closer to socialism now than we've ever been, and it's all under the guise of the progressive liberal movement. That's what we are facing, and that, honestly, is what we have to be fighting. Do you think we can combat socialism? Yes, we can. I've got news for you. It is going to be a long, hard fight. And I'll tell you why. Because the current far-left movement in this country is changing people's minds. I'm going to give you a very unsettling quote, a little bit of statistical analysis that the Rasmussen people did. The latest Rasmussen poll, maybe you heard this one. If you didn't, you're going to want to hear this. They surveyed average Americans and asked them, of all age brackets, which economic model was superior. Do you know that barely half of Americans actually said they prefer capitalism to socialism? Just 53%. 27%, no, I take that back. 20% actually said outright they prefer socialism. 27% said, I haven't quite decided yet. Are you worried about our future yet? Wait until I tell you about our future. In that same survey, 18 to 30-year-olds, the young adults, the ones who are going to be leading this country, of those 18 to 30-year-olds surveyed, the numbers were split right down the middle. 37% say they prefer capitalism, 33% say they prefer socialism. That's within the margin of error, so it's right down the middle, and just 20% said they were, no, I take that, 30% say they were undecided. This is the product, my friends, of the media, some of which are covering us right now. Decades of re-education, decades of brainwashing, decades of the schools, academia, brainwashing the youth of America into thinking this is the way it's supposed to be. The warm smile of President Obama goes a long way. The warm smile, the charm, the charisma. This is, if he says to you that only the government, only the government knows how to fix our economy, that the government knows how to rejuvenate our economy, that only the government can spend your money wisely enough to fix the economy rather than you and the business owners that are the backbone and the lifeblood of this nation, people believe him. They are listening. They think that the government is supposed to fix it. He and the leadership of this country right now have become daddy. And they want a nation of dependent children saying, "We can't do it, Daddy. Can you give me $1 for my allowance, sir?" That's what they want you to do. And that is what they are becoming successful at doing. And only you can say, no, I am going to stand up on my own 2 feet. I am going to decide what my future holds. I am going to decide where the businesses, which businesses succeed in our economy and which ones fail. The same way we have always decided. In a free market economy, one in which hard work and success are rewarded and slack asses can go sit in line on the welfare line. Back when he was just Senator Obama, candidate Obama, you might remember that the president, the now president, said that, well, I think the quote was, "I think that when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody." You remember that, Jim? Give him credit for one thing. He's true to his word. He's spending your wealth around for everybody. He is spending it on insurance companies. He is spending it on automakers. He is spending it on banks and lenders. He is spending it with foreign banks. Do you know that of the $170 billion of yours and mine that they gave AIG, do you know who the top 4 recipients of the AIG money were? Goldman Sachs got 12 million, 13 million actually. A French bank, Société Générale, got 12 million. Deutsche Bank of Germany got 12 million, and the Barclays of the UK got $8.5 million. In other words, I want you to put it in terms that we can all understand. When you, what is today, Wednesday? When you get your paycheck Friday, I want you to crack it open, and when you look in the withholdings there, underneath federal tax withheld and state tax and local tax and FICA and everything else, you're going to see little AIG there. And a little AIG there is the money that came out of your paycheck that isn't going onto your table, that isn't putting gas in your tank, because it's putting money into a French, a German, and a British bank. How do you feel about that?